What's up, everybody? How's it going? I wasn't planning on streaming tonight, but I was working on something on the computer, and I figured if I'm going to do it, I might as well show it. This is not going to reveal exactly what the secret project is, but you may get an idea about what it is based on what I'm building today. You're going to see something a little different than usual. I'm going to be actually doing some game development in Unity, which now that I think about it, I haven't done in 4 years. And the entire time I've been working at my current company, we use a proprietary engine, so I haven't touched Unity in that amount of time. By the way, thank you, Choppus, for the $2 super chat. I very much appreciate it. Let's see, who do we got here? We got Josh Sean, the Blue Blur fan, Shark Plays, Highwell Plays, Kimberly Anderson, Malamations, Maxie, Pro Tyler Adventures, Angel, and that's all we got so far. But let's just get started right away so I don't get caught up in talking too much at the beginning of the stream. For those of you who don't know, Unity is a game engine, and I used to be an expert in it. And that's what I used to use day to day, but as I said, for 4 years, I have not touched it. So we're going to try to get back into Unity today to create something a little different than you're used to seeing. Super Tap says, can't wait for the 4-inch figure of the end. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. Also, happy birthday to Highwell Plays. That's right. My day's good. Let's see, what did I do? Well, actually, my day on paper has been kind of bad. I got shocked real bad on my printer. I put on some Lancelot kits to print for the sale coming up, and it shocked me so hard. And then the screen of the printer got all weird and fuzzy and stayed that way until I shut it off and turned it back on. So I think it's printing successfully now, but I don't know. I had some problems with my FDM printer today, getting the filament to be recognized so I could print that first quarter of the head of Metal Overlord. And then my compressor broke on my airbrush, so I went and bought a new compressor today. But it was fun. My dad came over to look at some electrical stuff, and so we went and got a compressor, had lunch, so it was a good day, despite the problems that I've been having. Welcome YBZ as well. I have seen that Sonic. So I'm not good at seeing the details between things. What makes it the Anakea or whatever? But anyway, I'm not going to chat too much. I'm going to get straight into it. Let's open up Unity. Means you guys are going to be seeing me do some programming today as well. Let's get the screen to show. Alright, here we are. This is Unity. And we are going to do a little app to create dice rolling. Why are we doing dice rolling? I'm not going to tell you yet. So, gosh, let me try to remember how to do anything in this project. I'm going to create a cube. I'm going to make that a simple plane. So, we're going to make the scale be 0.1. And we'll just let this be, I don't know, 25. 25. What's my favorite Sonic custom I've made? Probably the Doom Wings. Trip's really cool. I'll always have a soft spot for Trip because it was my first one that really got some traction. Let's see. I think Black Doom's probably up there as one of my favorites. You know, because some of my favorites, they depend on if they actually function well or not. Like on paper, I really like that I made Whisper, but the figure for Whisper isn't great. I'm guessing it's for the suggestions in the Discord. The suggestions. Did I do anything with suggestions other than what figure to make next? I don't think I did. So I would say it's not related to that, but I can't tell you what it's not related to because then you might be able to narrow it down to what it is related to. Alright, so let's see, I'm going to duplicate this. Trying to remember all the hotkeys to like do the snapping and stuff. Let's see, what's half of 25? 11 or 12.5? Yeah. Hywell says, hear me out. I think it's related to something. Very good. I don't want to let you get your hopes up, Malamation, so I will tell you it's not that. You might like this even more, though. That'd be a fun stream, though, actually. Make Chow in space. I totally forgot about that. I remember I had a cool idea for it where the more Chow you collect, the more they all kind of like... You do like an intelligent system to have them move around. Ah! No. 0. Like this. Negative 12 point. Oh my gosh. Flop. This regular 12.5. Hey, thanks a lot, aka Sonic Fan. Oh, awesome, Super Tap. You should join the Discord and show it when it's done. This is Sonic related. I will say that, Malamations. Awesome, great to hear, Hywell. Yeah, sorry that the Chow stuff just kind of became too much to work with. I was just spending so much time on that. Oh, ooh, I made that a child of it somehow? Create empty, and we're going to call this group Physics. Boundaries. Yes, you do know now. Wall 1. Wall 2. Wall 3. Wall 4. And on each of these, we will try to make them transparent. I forget how to make them transparent, guys. Oh, is it pretty similar to Roblox? Oh, really? Press F2 while selecting an object. Ooh. Nice. Yeah, that's handy. Thank you for that. Oh, I accidentally put empty game objects inside of each of these. Alright, let's turn off the mesh renders on these. Now let's create a game object. Cube. Well, I don't know how much you'll learn from me on this stream because I am kind of relearning how to do this. I'm going to add component. Physics, nope. Rigid body. Alright, so let's hit play. Oh, look at that. What a great dice roll, guys. Alright, so let's select our camera. We're going to move this up. And move it down like so. See how that looks. Okay. That's gonna be... It's a little... I don't know, maybe this should be bigger. Let's make it scale of 3. Oh, that's way too big. Alright, so the scale here is not working for me. Look how that doesn't feel very, very good, I'll just say. 5, 1.5, 1.5. Oh, thank you, Malamations. I'm happy to hear that. So, I could just make the scene bigger, and I should. Or, I'm sorry, smaller. Yeah, you know what? I'll just do that, because I will do it the right way. Change this down by, like, 2.5. 2.5. Basically making this 10 times smaller. Because another thing that I could do is just change the physics settings, but there's no reason to do that. Just do it the right way, make it actually the right size. And get the camera that much closer. Now when we play, you'll see the physics go much faster. That's a little too fast though, isn't it? Play it again. Let me rotate it to see. Maybe we'll go a middle ground between the two. Yeah, that's not good. So let's go a halfway point between the two. So 2.5 times 5 is going to be 10, 12.5. And we'll scale the box up. And I know the walls still need... I'm about to sneeze. Ah! Alright, so it would be 0.15 times 2.5. I'm going to say 30.375. 0.375. I'm not confident about that, so let me pull up a calculator. 0.15 times 2.5 equals 0.375. I did not need to be... It was okay. Those were okay numbers. Oh, but I need to do it to all of them. Duh. Alright, now if I play, let's see how it looks. It's going to be way too close. I like that now, though. That's a good start. Let's move this just up to a reasonable place. We are making a component of a secret project that's coming up. I want this camera to be closer, though. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing here. Alright. So next, I want this window to be completely square. So, let's see if I can remember how to do that. Field settings. We'll add open scene. Oh, we don't want sample scene, though. We want to save this as something. Let's do file. Save as. Sonic Dice. Scenes. We'll call this main scene. Alright, what are my player settings? Call this Stegosaurus. This is just, we're just making a utility for something coming up. And yeah, we might as well make a texture for this. Let's call it, just copy all this. Do a new 512 by 512. Scale it down. See if we can just isolate this guy. Yeah, that's good enough for an icon, right? Take that part down. It doesn't really matter what this icon is. File. Export, quick export as PNG. How do I get there? What is the path to get here? Let's close this. Show an Explorer. There we go. Back to Photoshop. Maybe put that in. We'll say assets. Folder called images. Call it icon.png. I am making Chaos Cola. I'm making a component of something that's coming up. One of the things that you guys haven't heard about is I've been spending quite a few nights learning something in order to do something. Something new for the channel. We're going to see if people like it. Alright, so we're going to look for the icon. Wow, there's already a lot of assets in here. That's... What? Select. Icon. Where's the icon? Here we go. Oh, it's got like a bunch of packages imported. Okay, whatever. Alright, resolution presentation. We don't want a full screen window. We want a windowed window, and we want this to be, I don't know, 512 by 512. Animation will be part of it, but possibly not in the way you might be thinking. It's possible that if anybody is already familiar with what I'm going to be doing, that you're going to find out during this. You're going to be like, wait, this is that! And hopefully you'll say, that's awesome! And I'll allow that. I'll allow it to not be secret if somebody guesses. Alright, so now when I play, I think it'll make a square window. No, because I need to change it from free aspect to... Oh, it doesn't have our... So I have to add one. Interesting. Call it square. Resolution should be 512 by 512. There we go. So we want our screen to look like this. You can have one hint. It involves dice. So, let's make a couple different environments. Make a grass environment. We're just going to use some existing assets. Asset store. Asset store has moved. No, I don't want to do that. Let's just make a simple grid. So, like, what's good colors for like a Sonic grid? How about? I think that's an easy answer. Sonic the Hedgehog pattern. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, that's actually kind of interesting, but what I'm looking for is like the Green Hill Zone. Like these. I guess I'll just sample this. Make a new texture here. You guys got a lot of guesses. None of them are right. The first person who actually guesses correctly what this is will have a monument based on them in what it is. How about that? Alright, so I need to make a grid. What's the best way to make a grid? Well, you know what I'll do? I'll just loop it in 3D. So what I'll do is just create my rulers here. Bring it in like so. Just fill the whole thing with this color. This seems really saturated for what I'm trying to do. Let's just see how it looks. It might be too gaudy. How does it look desaturated? Let's see this. No, that doesn't look good. You know what colors I'm talking about? If I just search Green Hill Zone. Yeah, these are the colors I'm talking about, like this. That's what I want. There we go, that's better. Alright, so now let's say export, quick export as PNG. We'll call this Green Hill Zone Pattern. I'm gonna say this. One of you has not fully guessed it. Like, it's not to the level that... like, you have to guess the exact thing. But one of you has guessed exactly what the genre is. Does that make sense? I'll give a hint. This thing already exists. I'm not making a whole new thing. I'm making something to use with something. Oh, you guys are circling in on it. I'm not going to say who is, but you guys are circling in. It might need some Googling on your parts. Let's see. What am I looking for? Material. That's the word I'm looking for. Call this Green Hill Zone Floor. Give it albedo color of this pattern. And we'll apply it to that. And we'll make it... I forget where's the tiling. Right here. Let's do 15 by 15. Oh. Yes, but you haven't. You guys have to guess specifically what it is. Oh, that's the emissions map. That's not what I wanted. 15 by 15. Ooh, I like this. Yeah. So remember, this square one is our board games screen. Board game screen. I didn't mean to say board game, and it is not a board game, so don't think that I slipped up there. Oh well, kind of is a board game actually. Yeah, you guys gotta give me the name of the game. Yeah, I think this will be good. So now what I'm gonna do is take this. Yeah, I'm just gonna put one like down here so I can get the walls right, because I want to make some walls that push the dice back in. A lot of you guys are... Oh! Somebody did get it. Shadow Dark Snack. Alright, there's going to be a monument to you. Shadow Dark Snack in the game. Well done. Let me write that down so I don't forget. Where can I write it down? Right here. What's the name? Shadow Dark Snack. Ooh, maybe your place is a restaurant. Shadow Dark Snack or something. I don't know. We'll do something creative. Yeah. So that is what I'm building. Is instead of having everybody roll their own dice, just so that everybody can see it easily and they don't need to do the calculations, it'll all run on my screen. So, now that I see where we are in the camera's view, what I want to do is get these kind of, boundaries for everything, somewhere right there. And then I'm going to take these walls that I made and I'm going to bring these in now. And scale them down by a lot. So I'm thinking I'll rotate them. They just barely make kind of this shape here. And to be quick, I'm actually going to take this, create an empty object, wall rotation helper. Well, there is a way that now that we're talking about it, I'm going to need NPCs. And the first types of NPCs that I will need, I'm going to say octopus and foxes. So we will start up a Discord thread where people can suggest their OCs, and they may or may not make it into the game. Basically, I'll have them such that I can pull from them when I need. And I'll maybe have you describe, what's their personality, what's their voice like, and then I'll try to act that out. That could be cool. So one of the things I'm looking for here is I need to change my move settings so that we rotate around the original object. Right now it's rotating around the center of the object and all the children within it. I forget how to do that. No. Global. Nope. That's rotation. We'll do local rotation. Pivot. Weird. It's just doing... Why would you do that? Where are my move settings? Alright, take it easy, Maxie. Thanks for being here. Hey, yeah. Sonic Labyrinth. Oh, is a game where Sonic isn't fast. If I said that it was fan-made, that would be narrowing it down way too much. Negative 2.5 will be the center there. Keeping it 1.3 or negative 1.3. Alright, so I guess I'm just going to manually change these around. Go. Boom. So this will be 2.5. Nope. This is not behaving the way I expect. Put this back to global movement. Alright, I'm just going to eyeball it then. Because this is not working the way I expect it to. This to 0. What's up, fandom? Sure, Alex. Yeah, like I said, that won't be tonight in this chat, so just start thinking about them, and then we will put together an official Discord thread for that kind of stuff. What I'm doing here is I'm building these invisible walls for the dice to bounce off of, so they don't go places that we don't want. So now if I have one of these dice up here, watch, you're gonna see these roll down into the camera's view. So again, remember, this side is what the game actually is, and this is what we're editing. So let's hit play. Hey, look at that. Oh, that's pretty cool, except for the one that didn't work. Why didn't that one work? Probably because it's not interacting with the wall properly. Yeah, I put it outside the wall. So just for fun right now. So these dice, we're gonna do a good programming thing to actually instantiate them, because we need to instantiate different types of dice. But right now I'm just setting up the scene for us. Look at that. Great. Oh, okay, cool. You're Susus. Awesome. Alright, let's make these a little bit more fun, though. What do you say? Let's make a new folder called Physics. We're going to make these bouncier by creating a material. It's a physics material. I don't know why they call it a material. Basically, we're going to call it bouncy. And we can say how much friction, how much bounciness. Let's put it to 5. Oh, it'll only let me go up to 1. See how this works. It didn't do anything because we haven't applied it to the objects. We need to select the cubes and give it the bouncy material now. And now let's see how much they bounce. Ooh, that's nice. I expected it to be even bouncier than that, though. Let's see, can I not put it to... Yeah, the highest is 1. Bounce combine, let's put maximum. Oh my god! Oh, that's a little too much now. Oh my gosh, you just don't stop. Wow, look at that one, it just keeps going. Alright, so let's put the bounciness to 0.5 now. Good night, Alex. Yeah, I think that's nice and elegant. So instead of having to play the game each time, let's get started on some code that lets us instantiate these dice. So it's not just a cube that we need. It's going to be a cube and a 10-sided cube called a D10. What's the best way to make a D10 here? Maya, of course. So we'll make a new scene. Save that. Alright, so let's go ahead and create polygon primitives. Let's make a cylinder. And that cylinder will be 2 divisions on the height, and it'll be 5-sided to make a total of 10 sides. And then take all of this and scale it down except for the middle. Alright. And there's probably some way that these are constructed that makes sure that each side is even. Well, I think this should still be even. But I'll do some research later to see if I need to change up this shape. Does that make sense? And let's look at the mesh, the UVs for this. Because we're going to eventually need to put numbers on these, right? Let's do create. Let's just do automatic and see what it does. That looks good to me. No, maybe not actually. So let's do. Let's select one face. We'll do normal based. Let's see. Let me select the object again. Create normal based. No, it's got some kind of error. Valid path, okay. So basically I want each of these faces to be UV mapped based on its one face. So I'm gonna have to select each face, I guess. Automatic. That looks totally distorted. Let's worry about that later. Let's just export this for now. We can get on with the programming of this. File, export selection. And what is this going to be? This is an FBX, which is not loaded right now. So in my... Oh no, here it is. And Sonic Dice. Assets. We'll make a new folder called Models. And we'll call it D10. Do they have to be Mobian? Yeah, no humans. Yeah, right now I'm just looking for octopus and fox. Alright, so let's take a look at the new model that we brought in. This is our D10. Let's bring it into the scene. Wow, it actually came in at just about the right size. Let's go a little bigger. Yeah, that was pretty close. Alright, so now we're going to give this a rigid body, which is automatically going to give us a collider as well. Nope, I lied. It doesn't automatically give us a collider. So we also need a mesh collider. And that mesh collider will be that very mesh P cylinder. Okay, well, let's give this the same physics properties as the other one. And what do you guys say we just duplicate the hell out of these and see how much... Yes, Octopus and Fox OCs. Just, I'll make an official post on the Discord where people can fill out, like, a form of them. But basically, like, a name, maybe, let's say a name, personality, what their voice is like you could even... say like a certain, you know, if you just say it's a gruff voice, you could be like, it's like the genie from Aladdin. Oh no, don't make me do that. Well, we'll see. And then if I use that character, I will act it out in the RPG. And you're welcome to draw it. If you do draw it, I will need it in a format where I have transparency. So only offer up an image if you can do that, because I'd hate for somebody to put work into it and be like, oh, I can't use it because I need his PNG, and I'm not going to be able to cut it out myself. I won't have the time to do that work. So if you do draw your own, just make sure it has transparency in the image. Make sure it's at least 512 by 512 pixels. I'd prefer 1024. And then, yeah, if you draw it on paper, something, if somebody volunteers to cut things out, if they're... And I have to ask that anybody who does cut them out do a good job, because it's all gotta look good on stream, you know. I don't feel like all these faces are equally sized, but they are. It just looks wrong every time I look at it. But anyway, let's give it a new physics material. All that bouncy. Let's just make sure it actually works. Oh, it looks like our rigid body did not work. Uh-oh. Non-convex mesh collider with non-kinematic rigid body is no longer supported since Unity 5. You're kidding me. What am I supposed to do then? What do you mean it's non-convex? This is convex. What is not convex about this? First of all, I'm gonna just merge these so it's sharp edges. What are you talking about, guys? Edit. Delete all by type. History. File. Export selection. D10. Yes. Why does it say that it's... Maybe there's something about the import settings. Does a turnaround drawing help? Probably not. That would be extra work on your part. Just to show in the game. Alright, mesh collider, non-convex mesh collider. It should be a convex mesh collider though. Oh no, it's not triggered, it's not set. That's weird. Okay, now we hit play. And that should work. Yeah. Alright, let's duplicate these like crazy. What do you say? Ooh, let's use Highwell Plays trick. We'll press F2. Not 2. F2. Great. D6. Get some sleep, Malamations. What's my favorite Sonic game? I gotta say, Shadow Generations. I loved it. Alright, so we're just gonna make a bunch of these guys. Gonna go crazy. How many should I do? Enough to break the PC? Okay, let's see how this goes. Get ready for the stream to crash. If it crashes right now, you know why. See, that wasn't as chaotic because they're not all rotated. A lot of the cubes were just like bouncing straight up and down, right? Just rotate everything. Give it some crazy rotations. Let's see how it does now. That's pretty fun. Look at that. Wait a second. I must not understand the shape of a D10. It's got 10 sides that are triangular. But look how these are landing. Let's see. If you look at one of these D10s, we're not getting any faces that are actually up. So I must be... It's a different shape than this. So I'll replace that later. We'll do the other work first, but yeah, this is not the shape of a D10. I'll have to go look at my dice and see how it's different. Sounds like a lot of people got kicked off the stream. Alright, so I'm going to tell y'all a concept in game development called a prefab. Short for prefabrication, I believe. And what that's going to let us do is let us have one of these that we can duplicate more of. Before I keep talking, I need to grab more water, because I'm talking a lot. I'll be right back. It's not intelligence, it is hard work. I know some stupid people who do a great job. And I say it endearingly. About my friends. I've got some friends who you wouldn't think are necessarily like somebody who is smart. But they just work so hard and they diligently study things that like it might take them way longer than somebody else to learn something, but they spend so much time trying to learn that. It's very admirable. And I like to think of myself in that category. Is I'm not very quick to learn things. I have to kind of reread a lot of stuff, and it's just the amount of time that I spend doing these things. It's not about intelligence, it's about work ethic. But don't ever feel like if you don't think that you are smart, that you cannot do smart things. Ooh, I like what I just said. A little bit insightful. Alright, so we do want to place both of these in the center of the scene because it needs to be zeroed out. And what we'll do is we'll create a prefab of these. So let me make a new folder. Called prefabs. We'll right click on this and what is it called? I thought it was just like create prefab. Do I just drag in here? Did that make it a prefab? Yeah. Okay. Alright, so what? Original prefab? Would you like to create a new original prefab? Yeah, original prefab. Yeah, you know what I remember? The dice on the D10, like the faces are faceted in some way. So like the way I've built it, they'll never have the front face up. It needs to be rotated and then it makes like this jagged shape around it. That's how a D10 looks. I'm sorry to hear that, Malamations. Alright, so now that these are prefabs, I can entirely delete these from the scene. And then what I can do is say, create a 3D object. We'll just call it an empty object. And that'll be dice spawner. And we'll put that up in the sky. Where is it? Oh, we don't need to go that high. And we're going to make a new script for that. So let's make a new folder. And let's see if I remember how to create Unity scripts. Oh my gosh. It's been 4 years since I've worked in this program. Crazy to think. Scripts is what we'll call this folder. And create C# script. Let's see if I still remember how to program in C#. I don't even know what editor I would use here. Because they don't have... back when I used to program, it was a specific program that came with Unity. I might use a Visual Studio Code. That's what I use at work. So we're going to call this Dice Spawner. Hey, what's up, Razitaire78? I'm making a fun little dice rolling app for a future project that I'm going to be streaming. Alright, so what happens if I double click this? Sublime. Do I want to program in Sublime? Yeah, that's fine. Oh, it won't let me click on anything. There we go. Get this set up so I can still see chat as well. Alright. So this script is called Dice Spawner. And at the start, we don't want to do anything. We want to make a new function. We're going to call it void spawn dice. And we're going to give it some parameters. How many of each dice we want. So we'll do num d6. It's going to be an integer of how many we want of that. We want an integer of num d10. We want to spawn dice. And when we do that, we're going to want to have something up here where we can take in what the prefabs we want to use are. So we're going to do public game object. We'll call it a D6. And then public game object D10. But now, we also want some attributes to tell us how far away, because this... Actually, let me do this one step at a time and show you. So, what I need to do is if get button... See, I don't remember the exact commands now. I used to have all this memorized. Unity get button down. Input.get button down. A lot of programming, guys, is just Googling. I used to be able to write this, but I haven't worked in it for 4 years. So if input.get button down, let's call this space. We press the space bar. We're going to instantiate. No, we're not going to do anything. We are going to do spawn dice, because spawn dice is a function in itself. And remember, I put these two integers here for how many of the d6s we want and how many of the d10s. So let me just put, we'll do 4 d6s and 2 d10s. What this is going to do is when we press the spacebar, call this function. This function is going to do something. It's going to instantiate some number of the prefabs. So we'll do for I in, well, can I do this in C#? No, I think that's just Python. So I think I need to do for int I. While I is less than num d6 I plus plus. And I think I need to say if int I equals 0. So now, basically that says, I'm not going to describe what that says. If you're not familiar with programming, a for loop will go through a certain amount of times, and the logic is, let's start at the number 0, and then each time we go through this loop, we're going to do this loop only if I is less than num d6. So we're passing in 4 in this example code, which is 0 is less than 4. And it says I plus plus, so we're going to do something and increase I, right? So then I becomes 1. 1 is less than 4. Increase. And so on until now it's 4. It's not going to do any more. So it's going to create a total of 4 starting at 0. 0, 1, 2, 3. What's up, Crescent Blue Zero? So now we will say instantiate our D6 prefab. Let's see, this game object, so we'll do just transform, because when I say transform dot position, it's going to take the position of the object that this script is on. And we're going to say for the rotation, we'll just say quaternion dot empty. I think that's how you do it. Unity quaternion dot empty. Quaternion no rotation. Quaternion dot identity is what we're looking for. That basically means a rotation of 0. And was it capitalized? I forgot. Lowercase. So that should create it at the position. And, you know, it's going to all explode, and I'll tell you why it's going to explode in a second. Let's do the exact same type of code for the D10. Have a good night, Malamations. Thanks for being here. So this will instantiate X number 2 of the D10s. And so let's save this. And let's see if Unity likes it. Unity will complain if it doesn't work. Invalid expression term. Looks like we missed a semicolon. I don't see it yet. What is my least favorite Sonic game? Gosh, it's hard to say. Oh, I'll tell you what it was. Go watch my Kiki video. The evolution of Kiki. There's a little Tiger Electronics toy. It was a cartridge toy, like a Game Boy where you put the cartridge in. And it was so bad, it was a terrible frame rate. It was just the technology at the time. But it had a terrible sound. So I think just not existing would be the only way to fix it. You know, existing at the time, like not trying to do that. It's cool that they tried to put it in such a small form factor in the early 90s, but it did not work out. Oh, maybe these are supposed to be semicolons, not commas. No. What line does it say the problem starts at? 25, 27. So this says instantiate. Can't believe I'm gonna Google a for loop. C# for loop. That's how out of this I am. I'm out of the loop. It is supposed to be semicolons. Dummy. That's just the specific syntax that a lot of programming languages use. Oh yeah, good thought, fandom. Alright, so watch this. I suspect that things are gonna explode. So first of all, I gotta change the name of these prefabs. Call it D6. Ah. Does F2 work on here? Yes, thank you, Highwell. D6 prefab. We'll call this one D10 prefab. Alright, so watch. I expect that these are going to explode, but first of all, I need to put the code actually on it. So we're going to add a script. Nope, not a script, a mono behavior. I guess I just have to drag the script on. Go to scripts, grab dice spawner and put it on here. Now we need to connect those prefabs so it knows what these prefabs are that it's spawning in. Remember in the code we left these two spots, D6 and D10, and see how those show up here in the inspector for this. So now what's going to happen is all these dice are going to spawn right here at dice spawner all at once within each other. I've left it purposefully wrong so we can see what happens. I expect that they're just going to explode in all different directions. Input button space is not set up, so I can't use my spacebar. Unity input button down space. Oh, it's get key down. My bad. Let's go to the code. Hey, what's up, Miles Wayner? Instead of doing button, because that's for like a joystick, we'll do get key down space. So it's going to recalculate. And now when I press spacebar, I expect it to explode. Here we go. Input key name space is unknown? Are you kidding me? Unity, get key spacebar. How to reference spacebar. It needs to be lowercase. Oh my god. I'm being a dummy. Forgetting basic things. It's not skablam yet. I'm trying to make it go skablam. Alright, here we go. Oh, look at that. And now the dice actually bounce off the walls. That actually kind of works really well. Look at that. Now I'm spotting more and more. Oh, dang. Miles does know. That's nuts. So look at this. I can just keep pressing spacebar to make insane amounts. Ooh, look at that. Alright, so now you can start to see how we made all these invisible walls to make it stay? Now we're creating like a container. And notice I use the code get key down. So instead of just getting the key, like if I held spacebar, it would just make them go continuously. Because the code is saying get key down. The first time that is down, and then it waits for it to come up and back down. I have to do this a bunch of times. Yeah, pretty crazy. So here's the thing, I actually like that. Before, my plan for the code was to add a little bit of code that would randomly position these. Well, let me just go through with what I was going to show you. So instead of just placing them at the transform position of that, we can actually, just like we made this so that we can plug in the game objects, we can actually give it a range that we want it to spawn on the x-axis or the z-axis around it. So let's do public float x pose random, and we'll just make that a default value of 10. And you technically have to put an F after it. I'm not going to explain why. That's just how floats in Unity work. And then z pose random equals 10.0f. And here, instead of getting this transform.position, I'm going to make a new function. It's not going to be a void, it's going to be a float. We're going to say float. It means what type of data is going to return. A void returns nothing. The float will return something. So this will be called get random position, and it will take no arguments, and we will give a random range from the negative value to the positive, because I just want to have one value that says, you know, how big of a range do we want? I want to do the negative to the positive. So in this case, if we left it at the default, it would be anywhere between negative 10 and 10 on both of these axes. Not height, I'm leaving it at the same height. So I'm going to say return vector 3. Do I have to say new vector 3? I think so. New vector 3. And that vector is going to be made up of 3 parts: the x, the y, and the z. But we only want the y to be 0. We want the x and the z to be something else, which is going to be random dot range of negative, or we'll have to do x pose random times negative 1. And let's see, then comma, and then x pose random without a modifier. So it's going to give us a random range between those. Then we'll do the same thing for the z pose. So we'll do z pose random times negative 1 and z pose random. And so that's going to return a 3-value pair of vector 3 that we can add to the transform.position of each of these. So we'll say transform.position plus this function called get random position. And we'll do the same thing for the D10s as well. And let's see if we have any errors. Most of the time when you come back, you're going to find errors and be like, oh, I forgot this or that. It looks like we forgot a semicolon somewhere. Right here. Now we have more. The plus operator cannot be applied to operands of vector 3 and method group. That's interesting. Let's look at line 29. I forgot to put parentheses here. So when we want to make a function call, we can't just give it the name get random position. We have to say this is a function that we're calling, right? So do that. And there was another error, cannot convert from double to float at line 40. Let's see, cannot convert from double to float. This, we need to put an F. Remember I said floats need the F after them? It's weird. I don't know why. Looks like we have another problem. Cannot be operand. Plus cannot be applied to operand types of vector 3 and float. Well, obviously. See how I made this return a float? But we're trying to return a vector 3. That doesn't make any sense. Vector 3 is 3 floats. So let's make the function actually return a vector 3. Hey, no more errors. Look at that. Alright, so now what we're going to see is every time I press spacebar, it's going to make these 4 D6s and 2 D10s appear on a random grid. And to illustrate that, I'm going to show this from the top down, and then hit play. And now when I hit spacebar, it's going to show up probably somewhere, anywhere within here. Huh. Okay, so 10 is a bit too big of a number. That is why I made these public floats in here, where the default I've set to 10, but this is going to let us change it without changing programming, because these are exposed to the editor. And that's what's very powerful about these types of engines, is the programmer can be like, I don't know what the size of the scene is, I don't know what the artist is going to want to use or the game designer is going to use, I'm just going to put in these numbers. So now me as the game designer, I can say, that was too spread out, let's make it 2.5 in each direction. And let's hit play. Look at that. Now we have much more realistic positions. And, I look at this and I think, yeah, we could probably extend it more now. Let's go ahead and stop the game and change these values to something like 4. Now when I press spacebar, yeah. We get a good amount of bouncing off the walls. That's what I'm trying to achieve here, is those invisible walls that are slanted. I want them hitting so that we have them all coming in. And that's what was interesting about that previous one that I made, right? Because they were all spawning at one position intentionally so I could show you what happens. It was actually really interesting how it made them explode. And that kind of gave me the effect that I wanted. But I do like this code. I like this ability to control how much they spread. So we're going to keep what I've programmed here. Now we need a function to clean these things up. So this script needs to now keep track of what objects have been instantiated. But all we have here is the code that says instantiate this. We need to assign this to a variable. So I'm going to say game object instantiated D4 equals. And then we're going to have a list. So we need to define a list, but this list doesn't need to be exposed to the user. So we're going to make it a protected, or it might as well be a private. Private, is it a list or an array? Let me look up how to do a list in Unity. Unity list data type. Okay. doesn't tell me how to make it. I want to see the syntax. Lists and dictionaries. So it's a list and then brackets. It looks like we'll need this. It's a library that lets us use it. So we say list of something equals new list of something with parentheses. Oh, we already have this line that it was saying to use by default. So private list of game object. And down the line, this isn't going to be game object, and I'll explain why later. But we're going to start with tracking the game objects. List of game object. D6 dice equals new list of type game object parentheses. Do the same thing for the D10s. There we go. And now we have this assigned to a variable now. Now it's not just instantiating it, it's taking that instantiation and putting it into a variable. Now in this variable we can say d6 dice dot add, because that's a function of list, and we'll say instantiated d4. Alright, so now I'm going to do the same thing down here, which is oops. Just want this line. Call this instantiated d6. Call this d10 dice.add. And we'll say instantiated d6 equals. And also give it the game object. Alright, so now we have a list of everything that has been spawned. And if we want to delete these to reset the page, we're going to do this. Say, just a void. Void delete all dice. And now we'll go through both of those lists. So we'll say for int I, while I is less than d6, what is it? D6 dice dot length, and I believe it is a capital L. Let me look that up. Unity list dot length. List.count, not length. Cool. So we'll do that.count. So while it's less than that, I++. And we'll say, oh, I don't remember how to destroy in Unity. Is it the command destroy? Unity destroy game object. Yeah, it is literally just the word destroy. Nice. We'll just say destroy. So now we need to access one of the dice in this dice list that we're iterating through, right? And so that means we need to say d6 dice and then add brackets. We'll add I to this. What this means is if I is 0, it's going to take the 0 spot, or the first spot in this list, and delete the object that we put in there. Let's see, so we do that, destroy that, and then we need to remove that object from the list. I'm going to do that after. So, go through and delete those. Do the same thing for D10. And now, at the end of those, we'll just clear out those lists. There's something we can do where we can pop it off the list, but I don't like to do list manipulation in the middle of a loop that's referencing itself. And I don't think the right terminology is I don't like to do. I think nobody should do it. I think it's a programming faux pas. So I'm going to clear that out. Also, disclaimer, I'm not an engineer. I'm an artist, so take what I say with a grain of salt on some of these things. How do I do that? That's going to be d6 dice dot clear. Unity, how to clear a list. List.clear. So it's just a function. Do the same thing with D10. Now we need to actually have a button saying to do it. So here in update, just like we did get key down for space, we're going to say input.get key down. Oh, cam frozen. Thank you for the heads up. I thought we were past that. I thought we had fixed it. Didn't do it all of last stream at all. So, thank you for that. All right. So now instead of space, I want to use the delete key. So I think the word. Let's just take a guess instead of looking it up. Let's call it backspace. And so if we do backspace, then we change the function name to delete all dice. Take a look, make sure we didn't have any syntax errors. Try to find them ourselves before Unity finds them. Use of unassigned local variable I. Int I, we need to say it equals 0. Hey, no errors. Alright, so now we spawn some with spacebar, then delete. Look at that. Easy as that. I know that took a while, and it's not that exciting to just delete them, but it's a key step toward making this run. I like it. Let's see if it'll work with multiple, because ideally, every time I press spacebar, it should be adding these to the list. It should now delete all of these. Beautiful, right? Great. I'm gonna grab some more water and be right back. Guys, I'm having so much fun doing this Unity work. As I mentioned, I haven't done Unity in like 4 years, and you see me looking up a lot of stuff, but I've been in proprietary software land for so long at work that it's so refreshing to be able to be back in something familiar where if there's a problem, I can look it up. One of the big problems is with our proprietary software. We have to all ask each other and try to figure things out as we go, and it takes way longer. You don't get into flow. Oh, interesting. Go play outside. Make a bio-lizard using a Godzilla action figure. Yeah, if there's characters that are that form factor, that could be an interesting one. I saw somebody do a really good chaos out of, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Biolante or something. Yeah, that was pretty effective. I saw that somewhere online. Alright. I get a cough drop too because I'm... Oh, and thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. What I'm doing right now, I'm just checking a message real quick and then we'll get back to it. Alright. Well, I figured if by Godzilla you meant from the Godzilla series. For those of you who don't know, I'm making Metal Overlord. It's gonna take like 6 months. The head's printing now. The head's actually not that big now that I'm looking at it. And that 4 feet, it's kind of deceptive. That's how tall it is from its lowest tentacle to its highest spike. You know, 4.5 feet. So really the body of it is only gonna be this big. When I say only, but... Alright, so let's recap what we did before I went and got more water. We made it so spacebar instantiates the prefabs of just a preset number. And then we set it up so they delete. But I don't like... It's a little bit too uniform when they spawn. No, actually, I feel like that's really good, actually. I was going to add random speed to them. Well, look at that. You know what? Some of them are just landing straight down, right? Not all of them. It depends on where they land, but some of them are just going boom, 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 boom. So, let's give them a little bit of random rotation to start. Go back to this. So instead of using quaternion.identity, there might be a built-in way to make a randomized quaternion. Let me see. Unity randomize quaternion. There is a random.rotation, and does it return a quaternion? Yes, it does. So what we'll do is just call random.rotation. That's easy. So instead of quaternion.identity, because this expects a quaternion, but random.rotation just on its own gives us a quaternion. So we don't need to do anything like create a quaternion, add random numbers individually. This is a function somewhere else in code. It already does that for us, so that's handy. Now when I hit play, you're going to see they're all at random rotations as well. That's helpful. Alright, so we have a few problems here. Let's say we were doing like this many dice, which could happen in the game. Some of them are going to get on top of each other. Some of them are going to not land correctly. See how that one's stuck? I want to turn down the friction so that doesn't happen. So let's go ahead and edit our physics material. We'll change the friction combined to minimum. I'll change the static friction to 0.2, but the dynamic friction's still up. We still want them having friction against each other when they're trying to settle down. Actually, no, we want static friction up. We want dynamic friction down. The opposite of what I said. Yeah, that looks nice. And so, like, they're not getting stuck on each other as much. Cool. What was the other thing that I didn't like about that? Oh, we need the ability to kind of shake it if dice are on top of each other. So, let's see. Let's make a new function that we just kind of shake the board. I have some good ideas. Go play outside. I feel bad saying your name. It sounds like I'm telling you to stop watching the stream and go play outside. Alright, so let's make a new function called void shake dice. Let me think about something, actually. We want to try to make it so that any dice that are properly settled stay, but any that are not, we shake it. So let's make this new function we're also going to make an additional function called game object get settled dice. And I think the way that I'm going to do this is just by checking the height of the object. So we're going to say list of game object, and we'll call this all dice equals new list of type game object, and then parentheses. Is that how I created it above? Oh, I forgot the name. Nope. Yeah, I've got the name. Yeah, we're good. So we're going to create a new list that contains all the dice. And to do that, we're actually not going to create a new list. I think there is a combine function. Let's look that up. Unity list combine. Let's see. Oh, it looks like it is not as straightforward. Unity list combine. Yeah, oh, it's easy. It's you make a new list. Oh, interesting. No, yeah, it's just a.union. Well, that's weird. You just do add range as well. Okay, yeah, let's just do add range because I'm more familiar with that one. I tried to, yeah, and there will be more non-Sonic stuff coming. The problem is the Sonic stuff is what gets the views, you know? I do a lot of Skylanders, or I did used to do a lot of Skylander stuff. I used to do a lot of Halo stuff. And I've got a Mario Womp. I made a Womp from Mario. That video is going to be coming out in the near future. I love to make custom Pokemon. Yeah, I definitely want to have... I am itching to do... Oh, guys. Hold on, we may need to pause here. The first print of Metal Overlord has finished. I'm gonna go grab it so I can show you guys. Ooh, interesting. Glow-in-the-dark creeper. That's neat. Okay, guys, this is less impressive than I expected, actually. It's only about as big as my head. I thought it was going to be bigger, actually. Seeing it now, the head is only going to be this big. But I mean, the body Yeah, if you think about the head of metal, the body's gonna be this big, the arms are gonna reach way out here, so it's still gonna be big. But I guess I just expected this to be bigger. Didn't print as cleanly as I would have liked at these top parts here, but that can be filled in and sanded and stuff. But yeah, there it is. We'll find a 2.5-inch figure. Yeah, so here's a classic Knuckles 2.5-inch. This is... He could be like in the ship. Neo is technically going to, or not Neo. Metal Overlord is technically going to be something like 4.5 feet, but that's with the tentacles fully extended. So probably about 4 feet tall once I kind of pose the tentacles, so that they're not just going straight down. Yeah, we were gonna try to make it be for 4-inch scale. That was just gonna be too crazy. It's gonna be over 7 feet tall. Yeah, pretty cool. Not bad first print, just a little bit of an error. And so why don't we get the next one started right now? Let's just mirror this. And so to keep track of, I'm going to keep track on the stats of like how much print time. Oh, you guys don't see my screen. For this, I'll probably give away. Yeah, I stopped giving away files, but this one I don't plan to sell. Well, actually, you know what'd be a really cool product? Is just Neo metal heads. Like on a plaque, like a mounted plaque, I could sell that as a product. Neo metal head with a light up eye. Put it on your wall. Maybe I just talked myself out of giving away for free. No, I probably... don't hold me to it, but this one is probably one that I'm not really interested in, or interested or able, because I would never be able to sell it for how much it would cost. Yeah, I might give this one away. Now, what was I doing? I was going to start this. I need to take a screenshot of this. This is how I keep track of all the stats. So in the video, I can say this took this many hours of printing. Alright, let's hit print plate. Select our blue. And let's go. Giveaway as in give away the files, yeah. Alright, so what was the last thing we were doing before I got that notification? Making a new list here. So, all dice, we're going to say all dice dot, what was the word? Add range. And then we'll do D6 dice. We'll do all dice dot add range D10 dice. Yeah, that'd be cool. Make a little miniature, like not to scale, but just a play set for it. That'd be cool. All right. So now we need to return this new list. So say return all dice. And you guys see the error that I made already? We don't want to just send a game object, we want to send a list of game objects. And so now, I'd put that into its own function. It could have been part of shake dice, but I expect that I'll need these later. So right now, this function isn't doing anything we want. We want the settled dice. This just gives us all the dice right now. We're going to modify that in a second. But we'll get game object, list of game object settled dice equals get settled dice. Simple enough. Now we need to figure out which of these are settled. So before I save anything here, I'm going to bring Unity back up. I'm going to take a look at the heights of dice that are settled versus dice that are not settled. And I'm hoping I can see a pattern that they'll all be the same height. We can now actually just select these. It's looking like the height for that is 0.24, 0.3. Oh wait, that one's not settled, is it? And how about these rotations? The rotations are not going to be able to be a good indicator. I mean, this is kind of... Yeah, we'll probably fix that so that it's more in the view. So let's see. Let's look at the height of these. We'll consider this one not settled, but this one we'll consider settled. So look at this one. This one's up at 0.3. This one's at 0.24, 0.24-ish, 0.24, 0.24. Okay, this is great that the D6s and the D10s have about the same size. Great. Okay. So watch this. As I add more and more, we're gonna have a lot more that aren't settled. So in this case, like this one, we would want to stay, but we want this one to re-roll, right? Let's go in here and say that the settled dice are only the ones that are like 2.5 or something or lower. So we can actually add that as a new variable here. Public float settled threshold equals, and we'll go ahead and give it the, what did I say, 0.24? To be safe, let's call it 0.25. 0.25f. What's up, Pink GameCube? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm doing a secret project that you already know of. Well, let's say that somebody needed to roll dice for some reason. And so, what if I just made a dice rolling app, Sonic themed, that looks really cool on a stream? I don't know. That's what we're working on right now. Put little Badnik 3D models in there and stuff. Make it themed. I don't know, just in case I ever needed to roll dice in some kind of streamed game. Being a little vague. That way, the participants don't need to buy their own dice or set up a camera to show their dice. Just something that can just be on the stream and look cool. And maybe each set of dice could have a different color depending on the player. Lots of ways that could go. I haven't used Unity in about 4 years, so I'm kind of jumping back into things and relearning a lot of this. So instead of doing the add ranges here, yeah, I'm going to call this settled dice again. And we'll return settled dice. And the way that we're going to do this now is add these to the list only if they are beneath that threshold that we set up here of 0.25. So, do another 4. You know what I would like to do is 4 each, but I don't remember how 4 each works. Unity, 4 each. Excuse me. So let's do 4 each list. 4 each game object. Yeah, so this is going to be way better than doing the 4 int I equals 0, blah, blah, blah. We'll just say 4 each game object in that list. What did I do? So 4 each. And that's going to be for each die, or game object die. Wait, is that the right syntax? Do we give it a name? Yeah, we do. For each game object die in a D6 dice, we're going to do something. We're going to check their height. We're going to say float y position equals die.transform dot position dot y. So what this is going to return to us is the y position of that die. Oh, that's cool. Live action Bowser figure based on the Godzilla. You really want me to make something out of Godzilla? No, I think that'd be cool. Like make a. Remember in Super Smash Brothers, was it Melee or Brawl? I forget, where Bowser has like his power where he gets really big and like a lot more detailed. It'd be cool to make like a Godzilla-like version of him, you know? Alright, so we now are getting the Y position of each individual dice, or each individual die, and we'll say if Y pose is less than, what did I call that variable up at the top? Settled threshold. If it's less than the settled threshold, then add it to this list. We'll say settled dice dot add die, which is our current game object. Does that make sense? We're looping through all of the D6 dice, checking their height, and if they are lower than this height, we're going to say, oh, that's a settled dice. It's at the right spot. And then we return settled dice. But we also need to do the same thing for the D10s. For each die in D10 dice, Y position equals that, and add die. Yeah, great. So now we want to shake the dice that are not settled, right? So first thing we need to do is access the physics objects of each one of these dice. Yes, the context, the G-Boy. Or maybe you guys, maybe chat can help with the context. Yeah, Giga Bowser's the name. Ooh, yeah, you know what? Before we start going into the physics part of this, let's go ahead and take a look at what Fandom has sent on Discord. Let me change my screen just real quick, because I was on a screen that gives things away on Discord. Well, I guess you guys already know what it is, so it's not that big of a deal. Nice! Luna the Octopus. Yeah, hopefully you'll be able to find somebody who can cut this out for you. Because, yeah, I would love to take this illustration and use y'all's illustrations, with your permission, on that stream as a character. So this is... Let me actually show the screen. This is Luna the Octopus. I love it. Geez, guys, calm down. I'm too tired for this. Good Gaia, you need a chill pill. I don't know what the voice is. You gotta tell me what the voice is like. Yeah, that's way cool. So for those of you who didn't hear, for this project, I am happy to have OCs that y'all create. You do need to find somebody to Photoshop this to make it transparent and have nice clean edges just so it displays nicely. But I'm sure somebody can help with that. I could do it, but like I can't do it. I'm not going to do it for anybody because I can't do it for everybody. Does that make sense? So yeah, find somebody to help cut that out, and then we'll have that and be able to use it for the stream. So what I'm looking for right now from viewers is OCs of Octopus characters and Fox characters, and little descriptions of what their voice is like, quotes, and their attitude, and of course their name. I love it. Great work. That's gonna be tough. Is there any way for you to get Discord? Because it's hard for me to remember with how much I got going on where somebody has sent me something, so I do want it in just one place. maybe you can work with somebody who does have Discord to do that. Or actually, yeah, your parents won't let you have Discord yet. I don't want to say yes because I don't want to have to. If I make one exception, then I got to make the exception for everybody. But you know what? If you can't get Discord because your parents won't let you, yeah, just tag me in a YouTube post, and I'll get that image. Oh yes, if you send art for the OC, please only send it if you made it or if you actually commissioned it and you have the rights to do that. I don't want to get in any mucky situations with other people's art. Oh yeah, Sparkle was saying you can't ask their permission because the account is long dead. Alright, so yeah, it would be cool to make figures of some of the OCs that maybe get popular in the RPG. Ooh, nice, Lone Guardian. That's a cool name for it. Alright, what was I doing? Let's get to here. Is the screen showing? Yes, good. Alright, so what we need to do now is figure out how to make the physics objects become static. And by static, I mean they can't move anymore. So let me play the game. Let me spawn some dice. So we'll take one of these, and we'll look at the rigid body for it, and we'll say, is kinematic. Now, it won't be hit. Like, if I spawn more dice, these dice might hit other dice and make a move, not the one that's selected now, because I turned it to is kinematic. Look at that, that just stays steady. So, it's as simple as that. We just need to get the component for the ones that are settled. So, one of the things I should have been doing this whole time is commenting, which is you write a comment that says, set the rigid body of each settled die to is kinematic. So, for each game object, what do we call this? Just die. In settled dice. For each one, we'll get the component of it. So we'll say die dot. Can I say die dot rigid body? Is that a built-in thing, just like transform? Unity get rigid body component. Because the get component the normal way is kind of messy. You have to put like these brackets and stuff. Yeah, it is the messy brackets one that I don't like, so it's just get component rigid body. So we go to the script now. The die dot get component rigid body. And I'll just say, oh, this is a little messy. Let me actually assign this to a variable. Rigid body, lowercase, rigid body die RB equals that, and then we're going to say die RB dot is kinematic equals true. It's lowercase true in this language. That's one of the hard things is I do a lot of programming in Python at work, so I'm used to a capital T for true. So is kinematic equals true, and that should settle these dice. Just all the settled dice get set to is kinematic. Let's see if that's the case. So let's make an input for shake dice. We'll just call it S. Eventually all this is going to get assigned to menu items. I'm just only doing it for the keys in order to test it right now. Shake dice with S. And so this isn't going to do anything except set that kinematic that we can check, just to make sure that this portion of the script is working. And we do have an error. It looks like we may have missed a semicolon at either 9 or 42. Let's see, what's 42 here? Nothing. Must be up here at 9. Yes, we did. Now, rigid body does not contain a definition for is kinematic. Okay. C# set kinematic. Ah, it needed to be lowercase. Blah. Don't you hate that? I think that's a little inconsistent. Lowercase. Oh no, maybe it's lowercase because it's a variable and not a function. Alright, so we're not going to see much when I do this. I'm going to spawn some dice. Boom, there they are. And now I'm going to look at one of these objects. This one is under the threshold of 0.25, so we know that when we press S, this should become true. Yeah, look at that. By pressing S, that one little check mark worked. Let's spawn a lot more. Alright, have a good night, Lone Guardian. Thanks for being here. Alright, so now we have ones that we're going to say are not settled. So I'm going to press S, and we should not see this one turn is kinematic. Yeah, look at that. Whereas the ones that are on the bottom are. So everything that's on the bottom and settled is kinematic. Now, you might ask, why are we doing that? What's the point? Kind of boring, right? Well, check this out. Go back to the code, and now that we've set all the ones that we want to be static, when we shake the dice, we're going to give it a random physics calculation. So Unity give random rigid body, what's the word? Velocity? So we'll do some, add force is what I'm looking for. Let's just grab this code. And we'll just say vector 3 velocity. Yeah, this is already perfect for us. Vector 3 of a random z value. So we're going to change this up a little bit. We're going to make two new variables. Or just one new variable. Public float shake strength equals, let's just say 1.0, because we don't know what this value is going to be yet. And we'll turn this to, we'll get rid of this and we'll put it up here. So float strength. Oh, but I want it different in each direction. No, it would be cool if they all went the same direction. So yeah, let's continue with this. Float randomized strength equals this random.range, but instead of these fixed numbers, we will do shake strength times -1, and then shake strength. So now we have this number, randomized strength, that we can apply to all of these. Oops. So all directions are going to be applied this randomized strength. And then we add force of the rigid body. So let's see, for each dice, we kind of need a list of not settled dice. So we kind of needed that combined list. Let's just make a new function that says list of game object get all dice, and we'll just have that as a function. And then we'll do this thing again where instead of settled dice, we'll get all dice. And what was the code for that? All dice dot add list. Let's see. C# add to lists. Add range, was it? Yeah, it was called add range. So let's say all dice dot add range of d6 dice. And then all dice dot add range d10 dice. And then we'll return all dice. Now we have just this function that'll nicely give us everything we need. And we could even modify this. So instead of having these two... In fact, let's take a little extra time to make this good. Oh, by the way, how long am I streaming for? I might go another hour. Depends on how I'm feeling. I'm getting a little lightheaded. Bailey's sick. I'm worried that I'm getting sick. So instead of going for each object in d6 dice, we can do for each object in get all dice. And then we can just add it. And then we can get rid of the second one. So this makes the code cleaner. Because before I was doing a for each one of those dice. But now I do for each one in get all dice. A little bit simpler, right? So now that we've got that, we want to do for each game object die in. We'll do the same thing, get all dice. And we'll say if settled dice dot contains, and we'll put an exclamation mark before this. This means it's the opposite. If settled dice does not contain our die, then we do these things. So basically it's saying look through every die in the scene, and if it isn't in settled dice, we're going to make it bounce some direction. We need to do one more thing, is we need to get the rigid body of that. So we'll do die.get component rigid body, and then say .add force. And let's see if we didn't have any syntax errors. I doubt it. I bet we will have at least one syntax error. Movement does not exist in the current context. Oh yeah, we lost it. Yeah, we don't need that. That was just from the code example. All right, no errors. So let's see if this just works. So we spawn some dice. Do we see any that are candidates? No, those are all... If I press S, none of them are going to shake, because they are all... They're all set to be both is kinematic and they're not in the list. So let's add some more dice so we can trigger this problem to happen. Wow, now that I actually need this to happen, they're nowhere to be found. What I'm looking for is a cube on top of another cube. There we go. All right, so objects like this, when we press S, they should they should shoot off in some way. Let's see. Nothing. Oh, a little bit. Yeah, look. They are moving a little bit. So let's go crazy with this. Let's change the dice spawner's value. See how I put shake strength 1? Probably needs to be more than this. Let's go 100 just for fun. Now when I press S, ooh, you can see what's happening. It's shaking the dice, and look at that one. This one right here went from being one that was not settled to being settled, and it went into place. And normally, we're not going to have that many dice on the screen, so it'll work better. But I think we need to go even more. Let's change this to 1,000. Whoa, okay. Look at that. That's shooting them off like crazy. Some of the dice, you see it far in the background, they flew out of there. So what we actually need is a ceiling. So let's duplicate this and just put it up above the dice spawner. And we don't want it to make a shadow, so we'll turn off cast shadows. And I might as well turn off the mesh renderer entirely. Alright, so let's make this a little bit more sane. Let's see, let's get one. Okay, is anything not settled? No, everything's settled here. Let me take one of the new ones. And I'm just going to manually move it up right now. Yeah. It's not going to stay. Oh my gosh. Stay! Oh my gosh. So here's what I want to do. I don't want to leave this as 1,000. I want to make it as, let's call it 300, but then we'll add a lot of upward movement to try to dislodge it nicely. So to add upward movement specifically, all we'll do is take this randomized strength and say times 3. Alright, so here we are. We're going to try to get some so that they're not settled. So honestly, this is kind of an edge case. This is where, you know, in normal activities, we're never going to have any that need to be settled, but we need to be able to have that option. So let's press S. I think this one's going to shoot probably up some direction. Boom, look at that. Yeah, so it's just a nice way to shake the dice. But we can get kind of interesting now, right? Maybe there's a camera shake when this happens. So, let's go to main camera. We're going to make a group for this. Create empty. Camera container. And then create another object. Camera animator. So we can add a shake to the camera when we do the shake effect. So let's zero these out. And we'll take the position of the camera where we now like it, copy it, and paste it to this new position. So now the container is up right where the camera is, and we will now put the camera right underneath it. So now if we move one of the objects here, look at that. And there's one more thing that I want to do is we'll call this camera rotator, or camera position. Because I want to be able to control the position of the camera with the keyboard. So I'm just going to duplicate this to have an object in the same position. Delete its child. We'll call this, now this one is camera container. We'll put that under there. Great. So now, camera animator needs an animation component. Animation. So we'll do create animation. Excellent, fandom, and thank you to Sparkle for helping. All right. We'll call this camera shake. We need to plug in that to our camera animator. But we need a controller for it, so we'll create animation controller. I always find it kind of annoying to make animations in Unity with their new system. Well, I say new, like their Unity 5 system. Camera animator. And now we need to plug that into the camera animator object. And in the camera animation state, we need an animation. And we want to break this connection. Can I not? Whoa. Oh, that light went out. Yeah, let me plug that back in. I didn't know it was unplugged. Nope. Oh, it's actually important. I mean, it's fine to send a voice, but I'm not going to study every voice. I do need it written down, just be like raspy or sleepy. I might not remember just the qualities of an audio file if you send it. I'm going to make a transition from any state to camera shake so that we can call it. Or actually, we're not even going to make a transition, we'll just play it automatically. Hey, Pixos, I am making a dice rolling thing for something that is coming up. A Sonic-themed RPG. So we're taking a little break on 3D modeling. We've got things printed. The first piece of last night's part came out. I can make a mask out of this. It'd be cool. Cosplay. Ooh, that'd be a sick cosplay, actually. Frozen. So you guys couldn't even see what I was showing. Alright, so yeah, here's the Metal Overlord. A little bit smaller than I expected. I guess the head isn't really the biggest part of it. Yeah. So I need to remove these supports and stuff, but yeah, this is gonna work out. I see it. It's the beginning of a long journey, but I see it. Alright, so we want to try to trigger this camera shake. But first of all, we need to actually animate this. Do Windows, Animation, and I'm just going to pull this down here. So go to the scene, go to Camera Animator, and then we'll add property, transform. Let's just do position. So this is a 1 second animation. So yeah, 1 second will be good. We'll do kind of a big movement in the beginning. Like 0.75. Did it set a key automatically? It didn't. Let's just do 0.5 so it's not crazy. Add key. Go boom. We'll do 10 seconds later, we'll go like negative 0.5. Set key. Next one we'll do just like 0.25. Set key. Negative 0.1. .05, and then finally let it settle back to 0. Cool, awesome. Go play outside. Thank you. All right, let's preview this. That's a bit much. Yeah, it is a bit much. So let's just clean that up a little bit. We'll do 0.25. Negative point. Let's just say 2. Call this 0.1. Is it actually saving it? No. Where's the auto key? Yeah, it must be that. There we go. So I actually want 0.25. Negative 0.2. .1. Negative 0.05. 0.025. And 0. There we go. Just a kind of a simple camera shake. What's up, Jade and Hydra? Good to see ya. I may make a Sonic EXE figure just for myself, but I don't do commissions. Yeah, one of the problems is the commissions, you know, I have so little time. I can't even run my Etsy store, you know, like I'm too busy to do Etsy because I'm making videos. But if I get too busy with Etsy, a lot of people ask, well, when's the next video? So it's always a hard balance. And I've been doing more YouTube than Etsy lately, but yeah, I guess it would just be a paint job, but yeah, it would be pretty easy to make. I don't like doing commissions because I'm always worried about people being disappointed. Because I would have to charge, you know, Wake Angel does them for so cheap. Like, he deserves like 10 times as much as what he makes them for. But he, you know, does it as a service to the community. If I was making commissions, I wouldn't be able to do any of this, you know. And so, for that reason, I just, across the board, I don't really do commissions. Alright, so now that we have that camera shake, we actually need to make it happen at the right time. So this is going to happen by default. Let's go ahead and play the scene. You're going to see that it just starts playing right away. We don't want that. We need to go back to the animator. We need to create a state, empty. We need to right click on that and say set as default state. Now I need to look up the code for animator.play. Unity animator.play. Oh, it is literally just .play. And I can give it a name, right? Yeah. Alright, so let's go look at our code, and at the part where we do the shaking, we're going to need to get the camera object. We'll make a new public game object, camera animator. And let's see, where was I? In this the shaking of the dice. Now we will say camera animator dot play camera shake. I think that is the name of our animation, right? Yeah, it is called camera shake. Game object does not contain a definition. Whoop, my bad. Because it is not the object, we want to do dot get component of type animator controller, and then say dot play. Animator controller cannot be found. What is the component for it? Oh, it's just called animator. There we go, that should do it. Alright, here we go. So now, when we play, when I press the shake button, it should actually make the camera shake. Let's make some dice. And so even though these are all settled... Whoa! Oh, that one was not settled, but something happened. We didn't set the animator. Did you guys see that happen? That was so weird. So we need to select the dice spawner and drag in our camera animator. Okay, here we go. So now, even though they might already be settled... Oh, look at that. That is really effective, guys. Look at that. One thing we need to do is only happening once, so I need to do something in the animator, which is once this is complete, we need to make transition back to the empty state. Call this default state. But we won't be able to call this animation more than once unless we tell it to go back after. So let me show you this. We're in our default state now. If I press S, see how camera shake plays and then it goes back to default state. Now we can do it multiple times. And let's actually spawn some things. Looks like this one might not be settled. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, how cool is that, guys? It works so good. Alright, so these are all settled. So now we'll spawn some more. See if any of these are not settled. Nope, they are. And I still want the camera to shake so that we have feedback to know that it's working. Alright, there's a lot of unsettled ones. I love it! Oh my gosh! Wow. How cool is that, guys? It's super effective. Oh, that one of the dice fell out, though. So what we need to do is probably lower that value. I don't know, I liked that value. Let's just make it so the ceiling is bigger. If I select all these... Yeah, there's places where it can escape. So let's make all the walls a lot bigger. So like that. 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 And that. So now no dice should be able to escape. So let's make a bunch of dice. Alright, uh-oh, these dice aren't settled. We don't know what this number is. We don't know what that number is. Shake it! Now, with this many dice, it's becoming ineffective because, you know, we're never going to have this many dice. You know, they just kind of keep getting on top of each other. I mean, if we did this enough, they'll probably all settle. Oh man, I'm super stoked about this. Look how it keeps having more and more settled, though. Like, only those two are still having a problem, and we're going to have to shake it a lot. I love it, guys. Oh my gosh. This is so fun. I haven't done anything in Unity for 4 years. Look at this, in 2 hours. It's not done yet, but we have a functioning system of dice. Now, not tonight, but eventually I'm going to make it so that it knows what the numbers are. so then it can do certain things. Like say, it'll do the actual calculations for us, and in the game there's certain special things like critical success that are kind of actually complex. I feel like the rules are a little bit complex, especially to run on a stream. So by doing this, it'll actually tell me, like, oh, you got... It's like weird rolls where if you, like, get 2 5 or 6s on the d6s, or get a single 9 on the d10, or get 2 7 and 8s on the d10s, but you can't combine those systems. It's actually a lot to think about, the system that they created. It's a little bit complicated. And so by doing this, I can have it just tell me, this was a critical success with a trick. Like, there's different terms, tricks and slips, critical success, critical fail. And yeah, we can just do it like that. So, I think we can do something even better with this. Instead of making the dice just disappear, we can animate the dice down. So let's open up the prefabs for our dice. Actually, this is a perfect time for me to grab more water and use the restroom real quick. So I'll be right back. Question of the break. Let me ask a question. If there were other animals in Sonic that have not been in canon, what animals do you think would be cool to see as Mobians? I'll be right back. Ooh, a whale. Sharks or jellyfish? Ooh, I would love to see a shark. Oops. Penguins? Yeah, penguins would be cool. Yeah, that's fun. I like those ideas. Alright, so where were we? We're going to make the dice disappear in a smart way. So let's open up the prefab for that. So this is our D6 prefab, right? Ooh, vampire squid. Exodal? Yeah, yeah. we actually want to take the mesh renderer off of this. We want to keep the box collider and the rigid body. We don't actually want this showing the actual mesh. What we're going to do is create empty, and we'll call this die animator. And then we'll create another object beneath. We'll call this die model. Okay, so now we will cut both of these. Well, you know what? Let's just copy this. Because I do want to replace this model eventually to have rounded edges. But let's paste this real quick. Component as new. And we'll add a renderer. Mesh renderer. And now we can remove the mesh component from this. Why can't I move? Oh, remove. Remove component. Now we have this. We need to give it a material. Oh yeah, the material was up here. Oh no, it's gone now. Materials. Just give it the default material for now. And while we're here, let's just actually make a good sized dice with rounded edges. Like I said, this D10, it doesn't work. It needs to be... it's hard to explain what a D10... I can just show you what a D10 looks like. D10 die. Yeah, so the D10, instead of just having the 5 sides like mine has, 5 sides on each half. See, this will never end up face up, right? So look how a D10 is different. It actually has, like, these are not on the same plane. They kind of zigzag so that one side always ends up. And so we're going to need to just... I don't know how to make that shape. I have an idea of how I can. But I may just download a 3D model of one. But this one, let's actually smooth out the edges. Edit mesh. Bevel. We'll make this bevel a lot smaller. And segments, let's say 3. So, notably, we're using just a box collider for it, but the graphics for it are different. So let's go File, Export Selection, call this D6. And now Unity has imported the mesh for that. And we can actually probably just plug it in from here. Instead of cube, we're looking for P cube 1. Okay, why did it disappear? Too small? Too big? What's going on? Shows that it's there. If I bring it in here... Oh, it's not showing still. Oh, what's going on? Is it just really big? Oh, it's really small. Alright, so one of the things about... Interesting, okay. It shouldn't be that small. Alright, that works. Yeah, so now the green lines here are our bounding box for the physics. And then those nice rounded edges is the dice now. What's up, Snap Productions? Show you what I'm making. I'm making a dice roller for an upcoming show on the channel. So I can automatically roll certain amounts of dice. Alright. So we've got the die model here. Now we've separated it from having the mesh up here to having it down beneath the die animator, which we can now add an animator component to it. Can I just make a new one, or do I have to always create one? Yeah, that's kind of a hassle. Create animator controller. We'll call this die animator. And let's see, so we'll put that on here, die animator, and then we'll create animation. It's such a weird system where you have to create these different objects, both the controller and the animation, but whatever. So we're going to do a disappear. So this disappear animation is just kind of where we're going to make it scale up a little bit and then scale down to nothing. Let's go to our animator for this, and we'll drag in the disappear animation. We're also going to create a new empty state, same as we did before, make that the default state. Set as default. We're also going to make a transition out of here, because remember it has to be able to go back. And now let's animate it. So window, animation, animation. Select die animator, add property, transform, scale. Have I ever thought to make YouTubers as action figures, like a Casio figure using the Minecraft movie Steve? Yeah, maybe. I have a good 3D scan of my head. I could make an action figure of myself. That'd be cool. Alright, so we want to do like that. Frozen stream. Tired of it doing this. Cool. What kind of class is that for? Like not geography, geology or something? Alright. Alright, so we have the disappear animation added. We're ready to animate now. What's a good way to see it? We look in the scene? Yeah. So let's go just a big scale up. We could do 1.2, but let's do this. 1.2 across the board. Oh, interesting. This is going to scale up, and then we'll just make it scale down to 0. See how that looks. Oh, you want to get rid of the keys at the end. Yeah, so we just have a... In fact, I'm going to exaggerate that, make it like 1.35. What's important is that I'm animating this object beneath the physics object, so the physics don't actually change. It's just the display of the object, and it's going to play this animation before it dies. So, that's done. I'm going to do something called add an animation event. And this is... How do I... Oh, I need to put a script on it. So we need to make a new script now. Go to scripts. We'll do dice controller, because this script is also going to be for other things. Dice controller. Open that up. And let's see, so I want to make a public void on death animation complete. This will do something when it's done, and what it will do is destroy this dot game object. Let me make sure I'm doing that right. Unity get game object of own script. It looks like lowercase g, capital O. Yep. Oh, it doesn't even need to be this. It just needs to be game object. So this will destroy itself at the end. And let's see, to connect that to the animation, I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's sad that he gets roasted. Is he a good sport about it? Like, he goes with it? Alright, so it's still not going to work. The object itself... Oh, I need to put a script on it. Duh. So let's see. Script... I guess I have to just drag it on. Dice controller at the top level. Now in the animation, will it show up as valid? No, still not. I don't want to just put a script on this object. Let's... Oh, I see. I don't want to make a separate script for that. Let's see. Unity connect animation event to function on script on parent. Animation event, parent and child. You can't. Your script component and animator on different game objects. Well, in this case, the answer is simply you can't. Okay, so we can't do that. So what we need to do is put the animator up on the top, like this. So instead of having animator here, we will copy the component. Paste component as new, so it's got our die animator on it. And then we'll get this off of the animator, because the animator doesn't need to be on this die animator object. It's just that die animator needs to be something that I can animate. So remove component now. Top level has that script, and now we should be able to see on death animation complete show up here. But we don't want this to be that path, so let's copy these keys. Do I just need to Control C? And then we will remove properties. And then on die animator, die model, transform, scale. And so now I should be able to paste those keys. No! It copied the wrong object again. So we're just gonna have to reanimate this. It wasn't a complex animation. Awesome, I'll take a look at that in a little bit, fandom. After I get these disappearing, we'll take a break to do that. The die model, we'll put it up to... There we go. Scale 100, we'll call it... What did I do, 135? Oh, sorry, I don't want to do that. I want to do it to... I keep making mistakes, guys. I want to do it to the die animator object. Because that's the purpose of that object. Third time's a charm. Dang it. Everything is breaking. My compressor, my monitors, my cameras. It's the worst. Alright. So now we'll put this up to 1.35. 1.35. 1.35. So it goes up, and then all the way to 0 here. Nice. Yeah, right? It's going well, Shade. Yeah, the camera's tired. He's like, oh, we already live streamed this weekend. Shoot. How's everything going? It's going pretty good. I'll show you in a second. I added a shaking feature to make dice that weren't settled settle, and now we're making it so they disappear nicely. So, let's see. Now that I've added that, we have added the animation event at the end that says on death animation complete. So now, all we should have to do is dice controller, we get component. Yeah. Now on dice spawner, for when we want to delete the objects, we're going to make a function. Instead of saying destroy that dice, we'll say d6 dice I dot get component of die controller. We get that component, and then we're going to tell it a function. That function is going to be called play death animation. And we need to make that function now. Public void play death animation. And to do that, we will do the get component animator dot play. And what did I call this animation? Animation is called disappear. In fact, I'll change this from death to disappear just to be consistent. I'll just keep this the same because no, let's not be lazy. Disappear. Play that. Great, and so now this will play that and it'll automatically destroy itself. So instead of having, I'm going to leave the D10 destroying itself. But in this case, the D6 that is now set up for it is going to destroy itself after the animation is done. That's what the power of adding this animation component is. But we have an error. Die controller could not be found. Oh, dice controller. I guess it can just be dice controller because it's controlling multiple dice. But it should be like, should have named it as die singular. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Dice controller does not contain a definition for play death animation because I changed it to disappear. Play disappear animation. Here we go, live and learn. All right. This one needs to now be changed to on disappear animation complete. All right, guys. So what we expect to see now is instead of just disappearing immediately, we should see the D6s scale up a little bit and scale down. Let's see. Alright, so when I press the backspace button, the D10s are going to disappear immediately, but we'll have... Yeah, look at that! Oh, beautiful! Look at this, guys. We spawn them in. Look how cool this looks. But you know what could be cooler? Is if they did it one at a time, like really quickly, just like slightly offset. Check this out. Oh man, we're doing some polished stuff now. Check this out. This is my favorite part, is like doing the engineering, but also polishing and like making it look good and making it just do cool things. We're gonna make a new public float. Let me get a cough drop real quick. What's up, Goober? We're gonna call this delay, disappear delay. And we're gonna make that like 1/10 of a second. So 0.1 F. Alright, so instead of just deleting all of these at once, we can actually delay some amount of time. So let me look up mono behavior delay. Let's see. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I have to make it an I enumerator. That's okay. Let's do that. So we'll make I enumerator. We'll make this new function called it'll be the I enumerator function, the function type. We'll call this delay. Oh wait, I want to delay that loop. You know what? I think this whole function can just be an I enumerator. We'll just take our existing one that says delete all dice. We'll make it I enumerator delete all dice. And then, in between each one of these, we will do the wait some seconds. What was that? Oh, we need to do float delay time. No, we don't need to pass it in. What was the wait for seconds or something? Yield return new wait for seconds. This is gonna look smooth, guys. So delay, yield return new wait for seconds, and that delay time will be disappear delay. So what should happen here, if we didn't make a mistake, is that it should make each D6 disappear. I'm gonna make it exaggerated. Check this out. I'll go to dice spawner. I'll change that disappear delay to 1. So now the dice will disappear one at a time, and then you'll see all the D10s disappear because we haven't implemented it in the prefab. All right, here we go. We should see it be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, nothing's happening. Why is that? So the delete all dice says go through each of these, play the disappear animation, and then wait for that number of seconds. Is there a special way to call I enumerator functions? Oh, I need to start coroutine. That's right. Yeah, it gets a little weird with code delays. So instead of calling delete all dice right here, we'll say start coroutine, delete all dice. What's up, Flesh Grinder? Alright, so again, we're going to have that that 1 second delay, which is going to be too much. But here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Love it. So now let's just and then all the D10s disappeared quickly. Let's change this to 0.1, and it should be a nice effect. Look how satisfying that is, guys. Here, let me put a bunch in there. Now watch how these are gonna pop, 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 pop. I love it. I'm gonna do it again. That is so elegant. I love it. All right, let's make it work for the D10s as well. So those D10s, we're just gonna delete this prefab. Delete, then duplicate this, because we've already built all that structure. How do I duplicate it? Maybe I need to save as, file, save as, call it D10 prefab. And in the D10 prefab, we will replace the die model with E-cylinder 1. And then that's probably a bit too big now. Let's see. No, we also don't want it to be a cube anymore. We want the rigid body to be not a box collider, but a mesh collider. And remember, we, for whatever reason, need to set it to convex. Put the bouncy material on it again, and give it the correct mesh. I don't see it. Oh, see, it's way too small. Die model. Ooh, yeah. What we actually need to do is go to the model for this and import it at a bigger scale. That means scale factor is 100. Apply. And now the die model is way too big because we need to scale it back down to 1. We take our scale factor into account, and now when I select this, the mesh collider should be the right size. I don't see it. Is it just so perfectly in line with the die model that I don't see it? Oh, it just needed to be kind of reloaded, I guess. Alright, now we'll turn this back on. Now we have our D10 working. Save that. Go back to the scene. We need to plug in the new D10 prefab. Yes, Flesh Grinder, I am coding in C#. Yeah, it says missing because we deleted it. Now we need to drag that back in. And there we go. So now we need to change the code. Make it do the same thing inside of delete all dice. We'll do the same yield. Play disappear animation, so we'll just do the D10s here. Save. Yeah, looks like our music stopped, so let's get that going again. Alright, so let's just see if this plays. Now we should see our D10s doing the cool shrinking animation as well. Guys, how cool is that? Oh yeah! Love it. That looks polished. Alright. Let's take a look at what Fandom has sent to us. Nice! There it is, transparent. Nice. Sounds weary and kind of confused. Tyler Fox. Ah! Is this based on Pro Tyler? I don't know. Guys, I'm kind of bored. Where am I again? Love it. That's way cool. Exciting. Alright. Oh, what is next? So we've got them disappearing nicely. Might call it soon. It's been 3 hours. We've made a lot of good progress. Forgot how much I like game development. We use a kind of similar program at work that's proprietary, but it's really clunky. Every action takes like 1 to 5 seconds to actually show up, so it's like it's just enough time to lose your focus. So it's really hard to stay focused on it, and it crashes constantly, and all kinds of problems like that. You see how fast I do these things in Unity. I'm like, all right, let me open up the script. I'll do this, this, and that. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, error. You know, it takes 10 to 15 seconds to build in that program compared to, 1 second here. And it's like, just so much easier to get into flow and love what you're doing with this. All right. What do I want to do next? Do I want to start trying to understand? Like I need to figure out a way to make it know what way is up. Yeah, let's do that right now. The way I'm going to do that... How do I want to do that? Let's first give the D6 a texture. Where are my UVs? There we go. What is up with that? Why is it messed up? What is this? Why are you messed up? Yeah, that's bad. Let's do this. We need to remake that piece and this. Alright. To create UVs, planar on the y-axis. And we need to scale it all back down. So UV mapping is, you ever seen like those Santa Claus chocolates where the wrapping goes all around it? Let me show you. Do the other browser. UV mapping Santa Claus chocolate. Yeah, so this is what UV mapping kind of is. You have this Santa chocolate wrapped up. Well, for a texture to show up on an object, it needs to be wrapped the right way. You need a flat texture to go on a 3D surface. Well, this is a simple example. This square just wraps around the chocolate, right? Well, that's basically what we're doing here, except in 3D it can get a lot more intense. Complex UV map. So if you've ever seen textures in games, it kind of, well, this is a terrible, well, maybe that's not so, this is terrible. Well, actually, for that object, it's not bad. But anyway, yeah, you can see how we're taking parts of it and unwrapping it in more complex ways. That's what we're doing with this cube right now. Because by default, it was already basically there. But these are weird. I need to take some time real quick to fix these. Let's see, we'll UV map that on the Z-axis. Then that one will get scaled down and put here. Cool. Now what I can do is I think I can export this. Can I export this shape? Doesn't matter. I'll just take a screenshot of it. It would go like this, this, and in Photoshop, I'm just going to use the same square scene that I had set up already. Now we can put colors in this. So let's just make a flat gray. And then hide that. And let's put the numbers on it. I think I'll just put letters, like the actual, not the dots, I'm just going to do these. Do I have a Sonic font? Oh my gosh. Sonic. Yeah, Sonic. And we'll make this just black. And put the number 1. And I actually want that to be centered. And let's see, what goes on the opposite side of 1? So that's going to be this spot here. Hey, have a good night. Go play outside. I'm not telling you to go play outside. I'm saying your name. So now we have the 1, and on the other side of a 1 goes the 6. So they all add up to 7. That's how dice work. Or D6 works. So I need to make this one 6 so it's correct. Oh my gosh, the fact that these guides are here is messing up everything. Why won't it let me do this? Here we go. 6. And then I don't know what's next to that. It doesn't matter that much at this point. It does matter. I need to find a die. Let's see. D6. Alright. So it looks like on a D6, next to that we'll have a 3 and a 5. So let's build it out that way. So to the left of the 6 is going to be a 5. And we'll call that... I think this would be to the left of it. So let's move this guy. 5. Which means the one that's across from 5 is going to be what? If it needs to add up to 7? 2. We'll put the 2 over here. And then what's next to that? A 3, right? So if I'm visualizing this like the picture, 6, 3, whichever one is touching the 6 and the 5 should now be 3. So 6 and 5 are touching. Yeah, so it's either of these. There's probably an official way that dice are laid out, but it does not matter for this. This means that this one will be 4. Alright, cool. So now I add the gray beneath everything. And yeah, that looks fine. Let's see if we can give some flair to this. Maybe we can bevel it or something. Bevel and emboss. Inner outer bevel. Ooh, yeah, that looks cool. Yeah, let's see. And that still stays inside the guides. Yeah, that looks nice. File, export, quick export as PNG. And there's a reason I'm making it gray, is because I want to color these to different colors that represent the players or the enemies. So let's do D6 texture. Alright, so now in our, we can go to the material folder and say create material. Call this D6 material. And we will give it the image that we want, which is D6 texture. Now, in the prefab, we'll assign it that material. Remember, the die model is underneath everything, so we're checking there. Change it from default material to D6 material. Look at that, that looks clean. If we wanted to, we could also have a normal map on it, but that'll be for a different day. Looks like we do have an issue with the UV mapping up here, though. So it looks like it's the one that's on the bottom, so let's go ahead and fix that up real quick. Where is it? The one is up at the top. So the issue we have, one of these faces. That all looks fine to me. What's going wrong? Oh, it's this. Oh, it's because I remapped that. Ew. And the UV mapping on this is rough. Do this, but this may mess up something else. Well, let's just see. I think I'm just going to get this texture on and then I'm going to call it a night because I am getting tired. File, export selection. Oh, you know what? I probably never even re-exported this. That might be the problem. Yeah, we weren't getting the new UV maps anyway. There we go. Well, that fixed that one problem, and looks like no problems elsewhere. So great. We can even do something like make this more metallic or something. Yes, Miguel, I'm making something to use during an existing tabletop game called Sonic Tag Team Heroes that I will be playing on stream. And so I'm making a dice roller for it that will just roll everybody's dice. And the game is a little bit complex. And the players who will be joining, they're new to the game, so I have to teach them the game and teach myself the game. So this is going to automatically figure out critical. It has like a system where you do tricks and slips and critical hits, and it's a lot to keep track of. So I think it's going to be easier if we just have a cool looking thing so everybody on the stream can see what's being rolled. And that way the players don't have to get dice themselves or try to get a camera showing their dice. But yeah, so it's just boom. Look at that. And then when you want to delete them, I've made this cool animation where they'll pop away. And then if you have a bunch and like let's say they land on top of each other, if they're not settled, you press a settled button, and everything that wasn't settled, it shakes it up, and then the camera moves and everything. And now it looks like when I redid the graphics for that, all of the oh no, the size of the D10s got messed up. So I gotta fix something with that real quick. So let's see if I go to the scene and see how high all the D10s are. I know why this happened, but it's a long story why it's happening. They all look to be... Oh, I see, I need to go to the top. Yeah, see, their size is making them too big, so I need to go into the model import. Just manually change this down to like 80. See if that does it. And now that should make the D10s smaller, back to where they were. And they should become settled now. This should be less than 0.24, yeah. So now only the one shakes, and now it has settled into place, and we're good to go. Alright. So yeah, that's adding the texture there. Yeah, I think that is where I'm going to call it for tonight. We have done a lot in just 3 hours. This is my first time in 4 years using Unity. So it's nice to know that I can still pick it up and do things with it. Here's all the code we wrote. This is the code for the dice spawner and everything that it does with that. And a little bit of code for the dice controller. Yeah, let's read out everybody's names that it will show me, and then I'm going to head off to sleep. Oh, let's see, who do we have here? Fandom Lover, Shadow Dark Snack, Pro Tyler Adventures, Alex the Pirate Doggo, YBZ, Malamations, Shade, Super Tap. Did I say Shade already? I don't think so. We got Shade. Sparkle Wolf 404. Maxi. Sir Chumpy. JL and CC. And I might actually make a video out of just making these dice. I think that'd be cool. Like how I made the dice for Tag Team Heroes. Razatair 78, Crescent Blues 0, Miles Wanner, or Wanner, I don't know how to pronounce it, Highwell Plays, Go Play Outside, Lone Guardian, Pink GameCube, Benji the Cool Kid 7 on YouTube, The G-Boy, Pix Sauce, Snap Productions, Goober, and we wrote implies we helped. oh, saying that we wrote, yeah. Oh, we did it together. You guys fueled my fun being able to do this on stream. Well, thank you all for joining, and I will see you on the next stream. Have a great rest of your night.